Hi, this is Knit Locally, and today we're going to talk about the pattern Rose City Rollers, and we're going to actually be knitting it with our Flexi-Flips. Okay, so these are our Flexi-Flips that we're going to be knitting our socks on today. And what I've done is I like to go ahead and cast all of my stitches on. I'm casting on 64, so I have 4 more to cast on here. Perfect. And then what I like to do is if my tail is really long and it's going to get in my way, what I first like to start out and do is clip it, just so it's a little less in my way. And then what I will do is actually transfer half of my stitches to my other needle. I think it's easier to keep tension if they're all on the same needle to cast on, and then I just slip them off. Now Flexi-Flips are unique. They have a sharp tip and a dull tip, and I don't know if you can really see the difference there. I guess you can side by side. I like to work with the sharp tip, but it's a total personal preference. So what I like to do is I can just generally feel with my finger which side is which. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slip 32. So when you're working with Flexi-Flips, the only thing you're working with is just the 2 needles at once, sort of a hybrid between double points and magic loop. And so you're really only working with the 2 at a time. And so I will put all my 32 on here. And I'm just slipping them as if to purl. So I'm not slipping as if to knit, that would twist them. I'm slipping them as if to purl. And let's see how many we have here. It's a little bit tedious, but okay, 32. Okay, so now I just want to slip them so they're both in the middle to where that flexible joint is, right? And if you can see, you want to make sure that your cast on edge is facing the middle. It actually just makes it easier to sort of work with them. Now, Flexi-Flips. What I like to do is see how the cast on edge is facing the middle. This edge is not twisted here. And my yarn is actually coming from the back needle. What I will do is slip these stitches to the edge, and I'm going to work these first stitches. I'm going to grab it here. And now you can see we're joined to working around. So what I am going to do, actually going to switch to continental. So what I'm going to do is actually just continue to work my stitches over the yarn or over the needles here, and I'm just knitting every row. So Rose City Rollers actually is just a rolled cuff, so there's no purling, and I am going to work this for 1.5 inches. So the pattern says between 1 inch and 1.5 inches, and based on my gauge, that would be between 10 and 15 rows. 10 would be 1 inch, 15 rows would be 1.5 inches, and so what I'm going to do is actually work for 15 rows. So let me get to the edge here. I'll show you how these work. Flexi-Flips take a little getting used to if you've never used them before, but I find they're very comfortable. Okay, so once you get to the edge, I just push these into the middle and then push these over here to the edge. And then I'm just going to work these stitches. And again, I like to work with the pointy end, but it's personal preference. So I will now just start knitting here. And you can see my cuff is starting to take shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit this for 15 rows, and then our next video will show us how to do the heel. So join us then. Thanks.